Hey guys, Kate's here, and we have a lot to talk about in big technology news today. Apple is now taking the spotlight with their new MacBook Pro. So after 5 long years with the trash can Mac Pro, Apple has finally unveiled their new Mac Pro Monday at their annual developers conference. So the 2019 Mac Pro is a completely new design Apple built from the ground up. They decided to scrap their trash can Mac Pro model, into the trash can, and start from scratch. This year they took a little inspiration from the metal cheese graters and decided to design the chassis with perforated front and back panels, and even with 2 metal handles for easier mobility. There's a lot of great things about Apple's new MacBook Pro that we have to give them credit on. First off is the chassis tower itself. It supposedly provides great cooling with 3 intake fans. It should be easy to open, and the best part is modularity with tons of expandability. We're talking 8 PCIe slots, 12 RAM slots supporting up to 1.5 terabytes of ECC DDR4 RAM. Again, that's 1.5 terabytes of RAM. I can't even imagine how many Chrome tabs you can have open with that much available. It's even running at 2933 MHz, which is technically an overclock from the stock 2133 MHz from out-of-the-box DDR4 memory. Even more on the exterior of the case, you get 2 front panel Thunderbolt 3 ports and 2 10 gigabit Ethernet ports on the back side. But let's take a step back and talk about the base model. So coming in at a cool $6,000, you get a 8-core Intel Xeon, 32 gigs of RAM, a Radeon Pro 580X, and a 256 gig SSD. Yep, that's it, to be honest. And that's not a Pro config worth $6,000. If you part together that config on your own, you'll spend around $3,000. So where does your other $3,000 go? Well, some of that to the case, but most to Apple's research and development. And I know they spent a lot on R&D. But honestly, I'm glad they did. Everything about the new Mac Pro sounds really promising. $6,000 is quite the price tag for that setup there. If you look back the last few years, the difference between enthusiast hardware and enterprise hardware has become much more smaller. For instance, take a look at Intel's i9-9900K. That's an 8-core CPU with boost clocks up to 5 GHz for $500. Ultimately, this is a workstation computer configurable up to a 28-core Xeon and 2 Radeon Pro Vega 2s. And by the way, that's an unreleased GPU from AMD, but it sounds like a computing monster. On Apple's website, it boasts 64 compute units, 32 gigs of RAM, and you can add 4 Vega 2s in there. That would be a massive 128 gigs of combined VRAM. And that right there is the most VRAM memory of any non-enterprise grade setup. Oh, and it's all HBM2 memory, which is quite faster than NVIDIA's enthusiast grade GDDR6. All these specs sound like the new Mac Pro is truly marketed for cinema grade animators, render sets, and professional video editors. So is anyone really going to buy the 8-core Mac Pro with a roughly $250 580X GPU? And how much will the Mac-style 28-core Xeon monster cost? Well, more than a brand new car, that's for sure. My guess is going to be around $30,000. The new Mac Pro comes out in the fall, and honestly I can't wait till people get their hands on it. I'm already excited to see benchmarks, stress tests, and all the different configs that are going to be available. I just really hope it's not thermally constricted like their MacBooks.